Good evening to all. And here we are. We have another No Buff Too Tough coming at you and a Forever You Will Shine evening. I'm here with my good friend, Nathan Kistler from Dr. Detail, Cosmetology in Manchester, Tennessee. How you doing, Nathan?
Good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. So you've been cleaning up a lot of messes inside the cars?
We have been extremely busy, a ton of interior details. It's that time of year. We have gone through probably 20 interiors this week and probably have another dozen lined up for next week already. So, like I said, it's that time of year, no doubt.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's like that here. We're not quite knocking out as many as the wife and I are knocking out. A couple here and there a day. But yeah, we're cleaning up from winter. You don't have as much snow and salt and all the sand down there in Tennessee, but we're cleaning up some of. We put that magnesium chloride down on the roads here in Connecticut, and it leaves this crustacean in
Nasty.
the cars. It's really nasty. Have you gotten to clean some of that up down there in
Oh yeah.
Tennessee?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's lots of fun, isn't it?
It is.
Put your
Takes quite
goggles
a
on.
while.
A
What's
little
that?
bit of vinegar. You put your goggles on. We put on
Yeah,
goggles,
exactly.
and then we get the steamer. We hit it with some vinegar, and we get the steamer and blow it up.
Nice.
So, but anyway, we want to talk about interiors. So we're not gonna run the COVID bandwagon about we're gonna kill all the germs and bacteria because real simple. Let's talk about what do we really do on the interiors and what really cleans most bacteria in the car. Well, once you wipe it down with the microfiber towel, it's really all-purpose cleaner, right, Nathan?
APC. APC.
All Everybody uses it, and it's really
Yep.
just about having a good quality APC that's pH balanced. We spray that on the rag, maybe a little bit on some of the surfaces if there's some type of crustacean there. We all get those types of cars, and you start wiping it down, and instantly you're starting to kill the bacteria right then and there, breaking it down.
Right. Exactly.
So all the cars, one thing that we're doing is giving them a thorough prep process, and the main ingredient is the all-purpose cleaner, or APC. And then from there, with you talk about the fabrics, the seats and the rugs, maybe some of the fabric that you get on the doors. Then it's a matter of pre-spraying them,
That's right.
and breaking all that stuff up. A lot of people use detailing products for interiors.
Mm-hmm.
And something I do that's a little bit different and unique, I don't think you'll find a lot of detailers doing it, but I use products that come from the residential and commercial carpet and furniture cleaning business. And there's a reason for that. That's where the detail products came from.
That's right.
And I discovered that back in 1991 because I had a carpet and furniture cleaning
Yeah, you had a commercial
business.
business, didn't you? Yeah.
I did. We had a van on the road, and two people went inside that van daily, and they went out and they cleaned commercial and residential carpets and furniture. And I realized very quickly, and I was doing things wrong inside the cars prior to them. I didn't have a complete understanding of what I was doing with fabrics. So I was making some mistakes in the cars prior to that. And I started using those products, and I realized that one, just as a business owner, it was saving me money because they were far less expensive. But two, they were far superior because they were designed for that.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, for the detail products, those products have been reverse engineered, relabeled, repackaged, and sold to detailers at a higher cost.
Over and over again.
So those products are better, and even today, they're even cleaner and safer. Now, I will say that there are products, there are manufacturers. I don't want to take anything away from. There are manufacturers out there doing a real bang-up job, and they're making some really good quality products for detailers.
No doubt.
No doubt. But I still use those products and inside, the vehicle. So I'm using stuff for commercial and residential carpet and furniture cleaning. And the products today, what makes them so much better is that when you spray them, they actually crystallize. And so even if you don't hit them with hot or cold water extraction or a steamer, you can literally vacuum those products out. They're
Oh, that's
not
right. Yeah,
going to get hung up in the fibers, and
exactly.
and the clients are not going to be breathing them.
Right. The right products.
The right
Yeah, if
product.
you're
Oh
using
yeah,
the right products.
that's right. That's right. And this is one thing that we want the consumer to know is that, you know, when you're utilizing a professional detailer, and there are many of them out there today, they are going to have safe products for you.
That's right.
They're going to
Yeah.
have products that go with those services, or those surfaces, should I say?
Hmm.
And they're gonna remove them. So Nathan, you do a fair amount of hot and cold water extraction at your shop.
I do.
I do. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the process that you go through to make the car clean and safe for the customers?
First of all, I'm also I'm a huge fan of steam cleaning as well. Whenever I can avoid a lot of moisture in the fibers of any material, whether it's the fabric seats, most vehicles are nylon or polyesters or olefin fabrics. So whenever we can avoid high moisture content, we'll do that at all costs. Again, with the appropriate cleaning agents or APCs and steam cleaning. But yes, we do a lot of hot water carpet extracting. And again, special cleaners designed specifically for carpets. And the hot water extractor, of course, heating up to the mid 100s. And heat does help dissolve heavier soils and staining. We do not add the extraction fluids to the extractors like a lot of people do. We focus more on agitating and pre-treating carpets before the hot water extraction process, and that tends to help release more dirt, grime, and bacteria out of the fibers of the material. So, but we probably do that almost on a daily basis. And of course, important and whole nother subject is making sure the fabric is dry, the carpets are dry. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody come in after they had their car detailed somewhere and they have a smell in the car. And what they don't realize is that's bacteria building underneath the carpet because somebody tried to clean it with a hose and a vacuum. And that's where the equipment comes into play. You have to just make sure you have the professional equipment to do the job right, and drying and dry time will not be an issue. So that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days, we do really 90% of our cleaning today is with steam at our shop.
Hmm.
We're going to use hot or cold water, depends on, what's we're cleaning out of the carpet. But if there's definitely a spill, something has happened in that carpet, we're going to pull the extractor, and, we're going to want to be able to wash that carpet out really good. In the old days, we ran the heaters. You turn the heaters down and you start positioning them in different, if you're doing the seats, you've got the vents going and you've got the heater
Yeah.
going to the floor. Then we're open and closing the door to air the
Yeah.
car out. So it was a lot. It was a lot of work running around the cars. We do a little bit of that today, but not so much because we're actually not working in the cold weather here in Connecticut. But that is really important, drying the car, because it does build up mold and mildew in the car if you put that mat back on the car. I know in the old days there would be, people would call the carpet commercial carpet cleaner, and those guys always hated doing carpets, and they just clean
Yeah.
the carpet and they'd leave.
Yeah.
And they'd leave, and the customer didn't know what to do, and they would just start using the car because they weren't left any instructions. And so we used to clean up a fair amount of mold from cars that were shampooed, and then the mat
Vehicles.
was just put right on top. So
Yeah.
drying them out's real important. Um, Today, even with steam, sometimes if you have to kick up the moisture, you do have to pay attention that there is going to be maybe a little bit more moisture
Oh
in
yeah.
those carpets.
Oh
But
yeah.
at the same time, when you're using a higher quality chemical, as I know you are at your shop and we do here, we're just breaking that right up. Though there's no chemical residue when you're using a high quality product, it's broken right up. So that's important. So how it's done, the procedures, having the equipment's one thing, having good chemicals is another.
Totally
And then it
different.
comes down to the actual detailer, how much, how conscientious they are and how much they care about what they're doing.
Right.
So that's important. So for consumers to have a good vetting process, to feel comfortable with where they're going and that they're knowledgeable
Mm-hmm.
of what they're doing. Recently, actually this past week, we had another detailer had sent a client over to us. They showed up at their shop because they had left their sunroof open in their Toyota Tacoma.
Good times.
And it rained and it flooded out the inside. And the people, they vacuumed it all up with the wet dry vac and it was dried to the surface and they thought everything was okay. And a month later, it stunk
There it
like
is.
hell inside that vehicle. What they didn't realize was that the carpet has cuts in it where the
Mm-hmm.
vents come out underneath the seats, and they don't really put that much carpet in the vehicles to begin with. They put just enough to tuck
Yeah,
under. They're
true.
not going
Yeah,
to
that's
let you have
true.
any more than you need. And that water got all underneath the carpet, front to back. And so the other detail shop sent them over to us. They weren't really sure what to do about that. And unbelievably, it was amazing. This woman was really handy. It's not rocket science, but she went and took the passenger seat right out of the car. It's just four
Strip
bolts
the
and
car
three
down.
wires, disconnected it. She pulled all the trim out and she came to us and she said, well, what to do? And I says, well, wow, you're doing a great job. I says, you should go home. What I recommend, you're going to save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Go home, take the other side out,
You tell
take
her you were
that
hiring?
carpet
You should
out.
have told her you were hiring,
I
man.
was considering hiring her. I really was. And so she did this. She went home. She was a little sketchy. She says, well, I'm not really sure. I said, no, you've already done the work. And the other side will be the same. So with a little bit of forcefulness, she went home, took the driver's seat out, got the whole carpet out. And I said, just order another pad because in some of these cars, like in the
Yeah.
new, it was a 2020 Tacoma. That's a thin, very dense, molded piece of insulation. And I can't
Yep.
duplicate that. Sometimes we can duplicate that by making a template and using quarter-inch household felt, from the
Yep.
furniture store, and we'll just cut it out and replace that. But in this case, you can't because you'll never get anything to fit properly.
Sure.
So, and believe it or not, I says, I don't know what it'll cost, but call the dealership. It's going to be a dealer-only item. It was $158 plus tax
From the dealership?
from the dealership. Yeah, so I was shocked. So that was good.
Yeah.
And then she brought the carpet to us because it just smelt like funk. And my wife Robin steam cleaned both sides of it, and we've given vinegar treatments both sides.
Yeah.
Vinegar is a very good neutralizer.
Very
So
much so.
we did 3 steam cleanings. I believe that's what Robin had done. 3 steam cleanings both sides, vinegar treatments, and we just hung it over our vinyl fence and let that thing air out, and it's fine. It
What you
smells
do?
fresh and clean now.
Awesome.
All the mold initially when you went in the garage, it just smelled like mold in the whole
Yeah.
garage.
Yeah. Oh, that stuff stinks, man.
So this stuff is it's really important to understand what's going on. And this woman saved a ton of money by
No
being
doubt
able to
about
do
it.
some things for herself. So all in all, all in all, yeah, she saved a ton of money.
It's
Let's
impressive.
just put it that way.
Man,
So,
most people know where to start.
so, so the one thing we've touched on how we're cleaning, but one thing we want to talk about too is cars, they do need to be cleaned regularly, and we generally have recommended for no, I wouldn't say the whole 32 years because the early days there wasn't a lot of education. There was a lot of self-learning. There was a lot of trial and error, unfortunately. That's just the way it was. And, go back 32 plus years ago, that's just the way it was. That was the reality of it. You didn't have, manufacturers or distributor type of trainings. I mean, these things were basically non-existent.
Yeah.
So you had to just kind of rely on common sense, grandma's kitchen, and things like that to get the job done. But I would have to say probably the early '90s, definitely by 1993, for sure. We were right on it and telling people, hey, listen, come back once a year and have us clean the car, and that'll keep not only clean, just aside from germs and bacteria, it keeps the fabrics from breaking down. Sand grinds them, and it starts tearing apart at the
It does.
fabrics. The vinyls start becoming faded from the
Mhm.
sun from not being cleaned. Um, and then also by not having any type of UV protectants put on. So this was something we learned early on, and I'll tell you what really tipped us off to it. It's when I found that fast food cheeseburger under the seat with no mold.
Yeah.
Moms were starting to feed their kids on the fly.
We've
Society
all
was
found them.
changing, and
Yeah,
they were flipping the fast food burgers and fries, and they had no mold on it. And
that's
so
right.
there was two
Yeah.
tip-offs going on: the funk that was among us inside the cars, and that the food that we were eating was no good.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so we learned two things, and we started really paying close attention. And from there, we started talking to people about, well, what really does go on in a car? If you go to the gas pump, you go to the grocery store, I don't care
Yeah.
if you go to the doctor. How many people just sat in that chair
Yeah.
and you just took that in your car?
Hey, I think on average, a steering wheel has over 400 types of germ and bacteria.
Yeah,
Well, think about that.
it's funkier than a public toilet seat,
Yeah.
to be
Yes,
honest with you.
exactly. Yeah, it's proven.
And we've got a microscope. We've got a microscope that just came in not too long ago,
Yeah.
and we're going to be putting some slides together for everyone
Oh,
to
that's
look at.
awesome.
This is going to be real fun.
That'll freak people out right
Yeah,
there.
that'll be a lot of fun for when it says it's only me in there
Yeah.
and everywhere else you've been. So it's like this. One thing,
You trace
um,
everything and
most all cars have carpet, and what do people do? It's raining outside. It's snowy in many parts of the
yeah,
country. You step in this and you get in your car. Where does that moisture go? And what happens?
the growth begins.
It starts, and it's a cumulative process.
Hmm.
It's a very cumulative process, and it starts to build from there. And we are going to have some solutions of what people can do to do a better job of keeping their car clean, just keeping it in better shape, and not building this funky mold, because this is where it really starts coming from, this moisture that gets tracked into the car. Because it's funny, you notice this, Nathan, probably in your market. People think of their homes and their cars completely opposite.
They do.
And really, they really should be somewhat one and the same. Not
Yeah.
exactly one and the same, but somewhat.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, I agree with that.
would you agree that maybe a professional detailing inside a car once a year, even if it doesn't need a lot, just a quick go through with the same,
See,
just to
That's
keep it fresh and keep it broken
that's what
down?
that's what we recommend is once a year.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Unless you're heavy in your car, you have heavy use in your car, then we
Sure.
say as needed.
Yeah.
You know, some people live in their cars because that's what their job dictates.
Right.
So, and it's an as needed basis. But the one thing that's real interesting too is, you don't want your car too clean either, or anything too clean. You do want an
Yeah.
element of bacteria, so you
Yeah.
let things work and you wipe
Sure.
it down and make it nice. But if it's too clean, now you're doing something else.
Yeah.
And you're breaking down immune systems.
I was going to say you need to build immunity to some things. So.
This is true. So, what when we're cleaning with steam, the one thing that we are doing is steam cleaners. They'll run. Some of them run in up towards of 300 degrees.
Right.
But are we really cleaning with 300 degrees?
No.
No. Because really, when you think about where we're holding that, then you've got the ambient temperature.
Yeah.
Then we've got the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I had our heat gauge, and I was somewhere. A lot of times, I'm showing anywhere between 140
Yeah.
and 170.
Yeah, and I believe it's above 1, and I could be correct. I know I'm close. I believe it's anything above 135 degrees is what will start to disinfect or
Yeah.
kill germs.
Yeah. Yes, it is above that, but 165 is pretty much about the temperature that just starts knocking out germs. So if you kind of
Yeah.
think about when you cook pork, 165, germs, bacteria is
Yeah.
killed. When you're
Right.
cooking meat, so it's kind of the same thing. All the
Yeah.
germs are typically gone.
Yeah.
But the cleaners that we are using are killing the germs, and then we're using the heat to actually really more lift the dirt out of the surfaces.
Yes.
And that's where the bacteria is contained.
Right.
Hand sanitizer, I know you see it on the steering wheels and on the doors. Hand sanitizer, if you're not wiping your steering wheel, I think we actually recommend to our clients, take a wipe or something and wipe your steering wheels and your doors, because that hand sanitizers, you put it on, okay, it sanitizes your hands, but it's sticky. And then you grab your steering wheel, and then people use lotion, and then we start getting this build. And so you put hand sanitizer on, you grab the steering wheel, and you just negated everything you just done.
We see the buildup every day.
So
every day.
So let's touch on some things that people can do that we would recommend. One thing we recommend people not to do is not put air fresheners in their car. I know people love air fresheners and smells, but if you actually saw how they were made,
they're bad for you.
They're no good. Might as well light up a cigarette. Well, we don't want to go that far, but it's in that vicinity. They actually gas your windows. A lot of times people ask me, my windows, they're all foggy. Why is that? And then I see the air fresheners hanging in the car.
The first thing I ask people is if they have an air freshener in the car.
So air fresheners, if you what you really want to do is keep them clean, because air fresheners, if there's an odor, people will put that in. They'll get some kind of, and there's products you can shake on the carpet and all this. And if you're adding an odor, all you're doing is adding an odor on top of an odor.
Right.
That's all you're really doing. You're not removing it. What eliminates it is a car ozone. You can buy car ozones online. I think Sharper Image, Brookstone sells these things. There's other companies.
The mini ozone machines, yeah.
You can just put them in. They maintain safe limits.
Yeah.
And they'll literally kill bacteria. I mean, we had one in our car. We had a pizza in the car, and the car can stink. You come back 15 minutes later, half hour later, and the car still stinks. And that pizza odor is bacteria building in your car. And it goes to the headliner too. A lot of odors go to the headliner in the glass. We had a car ozone in there. You come back to the car, you can't even tell the pizza was in the car.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. We've got old-fashioned methods. We tell people want to do some old school stuff. The square Chinese to-go containers. Get some old-fashioned charcoal briquettes. Put them in there.
Right up.
Drill some holes in the top. Glue or tape the lid down, slide those right underneath the seat. When it gets hot in the car and the car starts off-gassing, the charcoal will actually absorb the odor.
Joe's kicking it back old school, but it works.
It does work.
That's the thing. It works.
That's how they filter air on ships.
Big old bag of Kingsman charcoal. Yeah.
I thought of my Navy days. They had charcoal filters, and the air passed through the charcoal filters to cleanse the air.
That's right.
In the submarine.
It's crazy. It really does work. If someone were to try it, they're going to be like, yeah, it's legit. It works.
Yeah, just don't use matchlight. You'll find out why. Old-fashioned charcoal, where you would have to put the lighter fluid on. If you use matchlight, you'll know.
Right.
You'll know, because your car will smell like kerosene.
There'll be a scent in the air. That's right.
Yeah. So then you'll be calling us.
Yeah.
there's also you people can use kitty litter. I don't typically recommend it because even if you drill holes and they flip over, it makes
Makes
a
a
mess.
mess. Yeah, more
It
mess
makes a
than.
mess. They have the bead crystals. You can buy those online.
Mhm.
Put them under anything that absorbs an odor.
Right.
You know, you can use baking soda. Once again, that can be messy. I don't recommend it. If you want to be old school, charcoal. So if you have a charcoal grill and you're one of those people who's have one of those Weber grills and you like to use the old fashioned charcoal and
Yep.
everything and you got it, it works. Throw it in
Yep.
there. It's about as inexpensive as it'll get. I'm very frugal,
Exactly.
so it'd be something I would do.
Exactly.
You know, um, and then they've got those wafers, those little discs. They're kind of a ceramic disc wafer. You can buy those,
Yeah.
but anything that absorbs an odor, you don't want to add to an odor.
I
So,
personally never tried the wafers.
yeah, I never have either, but I've seen them in my clients' cars. They work, they're happy, and the car doesn't smell funky.
Well, there you go then.
So that's what it is. It's kind of like I can kind of make a joke on this. It'd be
That's
like, well, there was once upon a time, I don't think they make it anymore, but they did have lemony fresh toilet paper. So what do you think about that?
lip.
In the 90s, I remember they was advertising lemony fresh toilet paper.
Say no
So
more.
that'd be about the same kind of thing. If you got a funky car and you put an air freshener in there, that's pretty much what you got.
Yep.
So
Yep.
not recommended. One thing, I know you offer it at your shop, I offer it at my shop. What are those mats, Nathan?
The old WeatherTechs.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the trays, those are the absolute best.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we always encourage people, once we steam clean or hot water extract carpeting, if you want to bet that you'll probably never have to do that again, a set of custom floor liners, that actually, have the lip that are molded to the measurement of the floor. They are a godsend when it comes to spills and dirt and grime.
Stepping in
It, it,
water and
yeah,
snow,
it
it
does
all
not get
stays
any
in the
easier.
mat.
Yeah. If
I
you want
love.
easy maintenance, that's the way. And listen, I'm not here to try to sell what I've got. If you can find something that is somewhat laser measured that covers your entire floorboard or close to it, put them in the car.
Yeah,
Man, they
yeah.
can save you some headaches in the long run.
There's a couple other brands out there, but they're not as good. They're
They're
just not.
not.
They're not as fit, and
They're not.
that's why it's not to hump WeatherTech at all. We have them here, and when people order them, they don't have to pay the shipping charges.
Yeah,
You know, WeatherTech
exactly.
has they want us to charge as they. So if anyone listening, you go online, you go to order some WeatherTech mats. What you see there for price, you come into Nathan's shop or you come into my shop, that's the price you're going to get. You're
Yes,
just not going to have to pay for any shipping charges.
that's right. Usually
So
saves you, I think, yeah. Usually around $20 or something, I think.
yeah, I think it's $12 or $14 a box.
Yeah,
You pay by the box.
yeah,
So if you get a front set, that's a box. You get a back set, that's a box. And then if you get a trunk mat or back hatch mat, that's another box.
right.
So that could be on the low end, $36.
Hmm.
So that's what you save. And typically people will order them, and when they have the detail, we just slip them right into the car. They get the car back, and there
That's
they
it.
are, ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of people will actually come when they schedule their appointment. They'll go ahead and say, "Hey, let's just go ahead and order them now." Usually I get them next day or in a couple of days. By the time they bring their car in, and after we clean it, you're right, we set them right down in it, and after we make sure all the carpets are dry and they're good to go. That probably the chances of that car ever meeting with a hot water extractor again are slim to none.
That's true. Actually, we're talking ourselves right out of work here. I mean, but this is the truth. We're trying to help people
Yeah,
because realistically, once I put those mats in the car, the
yeah,
only cleaning that we really ever end up doing, unless somebody just, has a rock concert in there,
yeah.
is we're cleaning the edge of the carpet.
That,
The edges of the carpet. We're just cleaning
yeah,
the dust out, or maybe where they rolled
yeah.
their foot across. That is it. So
Right where the carpet meets the kick plate. That's
the
it.
actual mats that they purchase are actually saving them on future labor costs.
Absolutely, and a lot.
A
I mean,
lot. And
over let's just say over 5 years.
yeah, and the car is cleaner, so they actually enjoy their car
Pay for
more.
themselves. They pay for themselves in the long
Yeah.
run.
They do. Because all we actually do is we take them out of the car and I power wash the WeatherTech mats.
Yeah.
And they come out looking like new.
Yeah.
And the black ones are really cool because there's a special vinyl paint. It's not real special, but there's vinyl paints. There's two real quality professional brands. And once you clean those mats, if you got the black set, we can take them and we can lightly dust them with the paint, and they look just like the day WeatherTech sold them to you.
Yeah.
And so that's like standard equipment when you come to us. And and I highly encourage it. So it helps you live healthier in your car.
That's right.
Because you're not building mold in your carpets.
That's right.
Carpet is kind of silly in a car, but it does keep us employed.
It does.
So, and it actually, we have a car. We just took an appointment today for a car. I'm not sure what happened in there. I don't know. They lost a couple of pots of coffee, and it's a gray carpet in a Volvo. And you know how unforgiving gray is. And you can only spill so much.
Terrible.
You can only saturate a carpet so much. But when we're done with this, we've already ordered some WeatherTech mats. Yeah. And guess what? It'll make the carpet look nice again.
Yep. And if you have dogs, man.
Yeah, dogs.
Those things will help with dog hair. What a huge help.
Yep. Yep. And I'll give people a tip too. There's a home-based business, a young couple. We have no interest, and I'm not sponsored, by the way. So anybody that thinks that Nathan and I are sponsored by any manufacturer whatsoever, we are not. I never will be sponsored. That's just how I do things, because I'm telling you the truth of what we do and what we use. If we were sponsored, we'd have to push those products. We just know it works. That's why we're here. There's a company called 4 Canines with a 4 and a K, Nines, and those are awesome seat covers. So you can go to that 4 Canines with a K, Nines.com, and anybody can look that stuff up. You can machine wash those. The dog hair don't stick to it. They're waterproof, and they will last you a long, long time. We had them in our car when we had our dog, and they saved our car because we go actually live in our car. I like to eat in my car when I'm driving around the country, and I don't want to be neat. I don't want to be able to live. And so I let that grinder juice
Sometimes it's okay to be a slob, Joe.
I live in the car. I live in the car when I'm traveling. I'm not worried about being all fastidious. I'm there. I'm going on vacation to have a good time, not to be a fastidious fool. So I let that grinder or whatever I'm eating, if it falls on me, but I can shake off that seat cover. I can vacuum it. I can take them off when I get home. I throw them in the wash. I mean, we clean the car up when we get home, and we just live in it. And the car just looks like we never used it. All you got to do is just clean up after yourself when you're all done.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's it. And I got a seat cover, and I don't have to worry about the grinder oil staining my seats.
That's right. Yeah.
Or maybe my clothes, but that's different.
Yeah.
I usually have a napkin. But anyway, so it's just things that you can live in your car because, look, that's what life is about. It's about enjoying your cars, about enjoying your time out and living. And so how can you do that and maintain something that is, for most people, the second most expensive thing that they'll ever buy, which is a car. And for others, it is the most expensive thing they'll ever buy. Because I have clients that they go, I'm never going to own a house. I just rather rent. And that's fine. So that makes that car the most expensive thing that they will ever buy in their life. Yeah. That $80,000 whatever, or $50,000, whatever. That's a lot of money. That's more than I paid. That's more than actually, the average car costs more than I paid for my house.
Yeah.
Which is it's scary.
They're going to be crazy. All the more reason.
I just dated myself.
All the more reason just to spend a few bucks to protect your investment,
Yeah. So And another thing, a tip is that crack your windows, people. If you don't have a garage and it's a nice day and your car's sitting out in the yard and you leave your car, even you leave your car in a safe place. If you feel safe with it, crack your windows and let the car
Air it
off
out.
gas,
Yeah.
because the car is always gassing, especially new cars. And I want to touch on that. How many people come and say, "I love that new car smell"? Oh my.
All the time.
Yeah, I used to like it too, and then I found out what that was. I got educated and said, "Wow, no wonder I got a headache."
Specific kind of glue is what it is, and it just releases toxins. When the car is brand new, and like you were saying, everybody's like, they love the new car smell. Who doesn't? It really does smell good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, there's a fancy word, polyvinyl chloride. Does that
there
sound
you go.
fun?
Yeah,
That sound
there
fun?
you go.
Yeah. So there's a lot of adhesives in the cars. There's fire retardants in the cars. There's metal components. All that stuff is off gassing,
Hmm.
and it does smell kind of good, but actually it is very, very harmful
Outgassing, off
for
gassing.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that also puts that vapor on the windows. When you see that haze on the glass, that comes from the car off gassing and the materials, and that can go on for several years.
Hmm.
So this is a very good reason for people to crack your windows or drop your windows on your car and let that equalize. I know it's kind of tough, like in New England, the pollen is blowing around, so your car would just be loaded with pollen inside. And
Hmm.
I know that would really tick some people off after they had it detailed. So so if you have a garage, open the windows or just crack them a little bit, or buy some vent shades. Those are kind of nice things to do. You can put those vent shades on, and you can
Leaving it
usually
open
drop
all the
a window
time.
1 to 2 inches, and
Yeah.
and let that car off gas.
Yeah.
So
And it takes a little bit of time too.
it does. It does. That goes on for years. Usually,
Hmm.
good 2 3 years. That goes on. So those are tips that we would like to share with you, the public, to live healthier in your car. And one thing when you're talking about cleaning materials, is I know a lot of people are buying hand sanitizer these days. Um, I don't have any. I use soap and water. I'm a soap and water guy. And that I'm probably always going to be a soap and water guy. So triclosan is a product that is found in soap,
Everything.
toothpaste,
Yeah.
clothes, furniture, toys. It started out, it was used in the operating rooms to sanitize the surgical equipment. And then I think it was about 1997, Colgate started putting that in their toothpaste to combat gingivitis. And I don't know, something from there, we've just turned into like an over clean society. So we want to be clean, but we don't want to be too clean. So it's just a delicate balance of germs and cleanliness. It really is a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Too much of anything is no good. You
That's
know,
right.
candy bar once a week won't hurt you, but if you eat one every day, it might not be so good for you. Or soda once a week, but if you have, you know, 24 ounces or whatever, too much soda, anything would be no good for you. It's all like that.
Balance.
Eat too much
About the
broccoli.
balance.
Eat too much broccoli. That's no good for you, and your wife won't like you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Truth.
So yeah, so everything is about moderation and some balance, and that's really what we're trying to do: strike a chord with people, not to put fear into people that, oh, my car is really filthy. It's just a balance. Keep the car, once a year, a good steam cleaning, a little quick disinfecting. It keeps it fresh.
That's all it takes.
It keeps the fabrics from breaking down.
Hmm.
It keeps the vinyls from fading out. That's all.
Yeah.
So it helps you enjoy that expensive investment that you made. however
Yeah.
you want to look at it, investment or non-investment. Everybody looks at it differently. So it's about striking a balance and having some enjoyment. Um, and speaking of, I just want to mention one thing because we're about ready to wrap things up. I don't know what else we want to really touch on today because you can go on and on with things that we do inside the cars. We could talk about different situations. Maybe one time we'll talk about funny situations in the cars. Um, you know,
That'll work.
so
That'll work. I've
I've
got
had
some.
I've had a few really hilarious situations through the years, but one thing I do want to say is I want to just mention behind the scenes here today is Kevin Long from Movie Media,
Kevin
and he's the one he's keeps us all together and helps make us all happen and
does an awesome
takes
job.
takes care of all the technical stuff for Nathan and I, and we just want to say thank you to Kevin and people out there. If you need a website designed, you need some technical support, you need some social media training, you want to see Kevin Long. Hey, Kevin, if you got something over there, throw your stuff up on the screen. It's okay. But moviemedia.com with an M, MOVYMEDIA.com. So that's another No Buff Too Tough from Nathan Kistler, Joe DiFiore. Forever you
Until
will
next
shine.
time,
That's right. Why don't you do it, Nathan? You can let him
forever you
shine.
will shine.
That's right. You sure will. Be well to all. Have a great evening.
Have a good night, Joe. Thanks again.
You too.